Right, okay, good.
All right. Hey guys, how's everyone? Hey, all right. So thank you so much for joining me for this additional last minute announcement on Parzer, and every one of you here right now. It's part of our. You guys are all part of our advanced tier Growth with Parzer 2019. First of all, congratulations and welcome to the program. Now, as you know, if you check your student dashboard today, module 0 and module 1 of the basic core modules have begun. So please remember to go through the modules, especially watch module 0 and module 1, watch it a couple of times. And then, as you know, every 2 weeks or so, the coaches will come on to answer your questions. Now, today, it's a very special additional bonus, which initially I wanted to film this extra this topic as part of the advanced tier, but then again, because it's standalone and because it is not attached to neither the basic modules nor the advanced modules, so I thought, you know, I might as well just put it as a bonus session here for everyone. Okay, so you guys are watching this, not to worry. It's in Parzer, there are so many perspectives, right? I know a lot of you guys are new, and the first thing your concern is, hey, you know, am I going to be able to learn this? The answer is yes, because first of all, I've been teaching this for 23 years now. This is my 23rd year in the practice, so I've found a couple of ways to actually make it easy for people to learn. Okay, so you just have to follow the flow, follow the way that we have structured the program. You should be able to learn this, master this art, and more importantly, apply this to your daily lives. Okay, so not to worry, even if you're a complete beginner, I just want you to understand that even if you're a complete beginner, you're in the right place. We'll take care of you. You'll be all right. Okay, and if you're already an advanced student, like you've studied parts from other sources before, you studied in Hong Kong, Taiwan, or with anyone else before, I want you to come here when you're studying this, approach this subject in my school right now with an open mind. Okay, I need you to do that here, because we have, you know, some people who come from, you know, their own background, they've done some research before, and because they've done this study, so they have a preconceived, you know, idea of what parts is. Yesterday, I saw some of the questions that came in. They say, oh, you know, how come Joey Yap determines the nobleman this way, and then my master from Hong Kong or from Zimbabwe, you know, determine the nobleman in a different way. You know what? We're not here to say other people are wrong or what, you know, but actually they are wrong. But anyway, you know, just you don't care about what other people say for now. Yeah, follow the system here. Keep an open mind, okay? Because I'll go through with you as you go all the way to the advanced level. You also learn some of the classics, and from the classics you can determine you know, whether a principle is right or wrong. Some of the things that I'll tell you, I don't actually follow the classics because I actually feel that they are not correct, because those classics are written like you know, a couple of hundred years ago, some 1,000 years ago. The society is very different today than it is before. So I'm actually doing it from some of it I will deviate from the classic, but I want you to know it when I'm teaching it in the advanced modules as well. Okay, so not to worry about that. Now, okay, so today, now that everyone is here, we have a lot of students from all over the world. I'm glad you can join me right now. Today's topic, let me just bring out slides, please. Where I click. See, I got this my good sidekick here,
Right.
Farouk. Yeah. Okay, he's gonna help me with the slides today.
Right.
Yeah, those guys at the back, they're making lots of noise. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So, all right. So, yeah, today's topic is about the spiritual virtues of Parzer, and it's a standalone topic, so not to worry. Now, let me introduce you to this concept of spiritual parts. First of all, we are not talking about you know, that meditation, or you need to go and meditate in the cave for 10 years to achieve that sort of spiritual enlightenment. I'm just talking to you about the virtues as found on a parts chart. Okay, so it's neither a basic program nor an advanced program. It's just in the chart. So if you see it, and if you cultivate these virtues, then ultimately you become a much more happier person. Okay, so let me show you the next slide here. Okay, oh, I just clicked next. All right, cool. All right, there you go. Now, this is very important. Before I actually go on to the 10 spiritual virtues here, before I actually go into the points are called the Tao of Wisdom. Okay, there's 5 points here are called the Tao of Wisdom, and it applies not just in metaphysics, but actually applies through everything that we do in life. Okay, so I'm going to say it in Cantonese first, and then I'm going to explain it in English. Okay, these keywords are called Ji Ming Shao Hang. Okay, this is very important. The five key virtues of wisdom, the Tao of Wisdom, if you will. If you want to master anything or gain mastery over a subject, okay, we have to go through these 5 phases. Now, mastery means that you will gain an ability. Mastery over any subject means that you now are able to do something or execute something without conscious use of any resources. Okay, so which means we can unconsciously do something so well, we have mastery over it. For example, someone who has a mastery over playing tennis, right? In one of the world champions, for example, they could execute, you know, all those skills without really thinking about it. Unconsciously, they know how to do it because they don't need to consciously execute it with resources or thinking about a specific skill, how to hold a racket and so on. They already know that because they have mastery. Now, some people have mastery over entrepreneurial business skills and tools. Okay, so some people have mastery over business skills and tools. So, or some people have mastery over part, which is what we are trying to achieve. So right now, you're a beginner, right? So which means that you study everything consciously. But over the next couple of months, if you practice this enough, you will gain mastery over this subject. So you can you don't have to exercise conscious effort into, you know, reading a chart. You look at a chart and immediately you know what to look at. So that you will know that you achieve mastery. So to do that, you need to go through these 5 aspects. Okay, so and it applies to every other subject that you study in this in your life, not just in parts. Okay, the first stage is knowing. You know something. Okay, Ji means to know. You know something. So now you're aware of a chart. You know that there's yang water. You know there's yin water. You know something. Okay, but you probably don't understand it yet. You know something. So the first stage is knowing. But if at the first stage of knowing, you say, "Oh fuck, it's too difficult for me," you don't say stuff like that to mind fuck yourself. All right. So you got to be able to say, "Okay, I know now. I know this is called metal. I know this yin. I know this yang." Just know. Okay. So understand the subject first. Then you move on to the stage of understanding what they mean, and that throughout the next the course of understanding any subjects, okay, along the way, all right, along the way you understand more and more. Then you start to realize the third stage is you realize how it applies in your life and the lives of other people, and that takes a bit of experience. It means that now you go out and you see, hey, you know, oh, so I know now what this concept means on paper. I understand it on paper, but I actually don't see it in real life yet, until you realize that, oh, that's how it manifests in real life. That realization will anchor in that new principle or idea that you have. Okay, subsequently then you start to cultivate it as part of your life, and then it becomes part of your action and activities. Okay, then you gain that mastery. So that is that's the 5 stages. So this is the concept of they teach us in Tao, Ji Ming Shao Hang. Okay, so if you go through these 5 things, you will gain that mastery over any subject. And this is the same approach that we want to use for parts. Okay, this is the same approach that we want to use for parts. So now this is not the 10 spiritual wisdom I want to tell you about. Today, we're going to talk about how we could, you know, use this subject and go deeper, okay? So the first thing is, in your palette, in your chart, you actually have these two palaces that we normally don't talk about, okay? And they are called the life palace and the conception palace, okay? I'm going to show you where they are in the chart. Let me just bring this out. Okay, there you go. So in this chart here, if you look at this is called the life palace. Okay, this is called the life palace. Throughout the Grow Rich with Pazi program, the 12 core modules and the advanced modules, we will not be talking about these two. So this is the only time we're going to focus on these two palaces. This only discussed in only for spiritual matters, and since today I want to specifically add this as a bonus topic, so you get a bit more details about this. So this is the life palace, and the other palace that we're going to talk about is called the okay, this life palace. Where's the conception palace? Let's see. Let me show you the conception palace. There you go. Okay, so this is the conception palace. Okay, and in the conception palace, you will see that there is a section there. It says consciousness. Okay, a section that says consciousness, and next to the section where it says consciousness, you will be able to see there is a 10 gods written inside there. Okay, let me show you what it means on the screen here. Okay. Okay, so can we bring up the screen and make it a bit larger so you can see it? Okay, there you go. All right. So if you look at this printout right now, you should be able to see the consciousness palace. Next to the consciousness palace, all right, right here, there will be a 10 gods. This is a star name written on top. Okay, so I want you to see, I want you to take note of, I want you to take note of the conception palace here. All right, there you go. I want you to take note of the conception palace and the star that is inside the conception palace. Okay, so I want you to take note of that right now. So all of you, please go and get your chart right now and you look at your conception palace. I'm going to explain to you what it means. Okay, I'm going to explain to you what it means, and immediately, so you know which aspect to look at. Okay, I don't need those slides. I just need this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is not necessary. Yeah. What you do?
No, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Give me back the slides, please. No, I don't need to upload anything. The slides that I had is correct. Okay. Let's go back to the slides that I have. Okay. All right. I need the slides that I have.
Yes, it's uploading.
The one that I was using.
Yeah, because it's ended.
Huh?
It's ended earlier.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me show you the slides. Yeah. So you have the life palace and you have the conception palace. Let me tell you what it means. Okay. The life palace is determined after your partner is born. Okay. When you have date, year, month, day, and time when you're born, that specific data is then converted into a partner chart. Your life palace is determined after this chart is created. So it's known as your later heaven palace in traditional Chinese texts. Okay, in traditional Pazi, okay, it's known as the later heaven palace. It talks about your future life, your potential, and so forth. Okay, and therefore it represents wisdom. Okay, because wisdom requires experience. It requires the 5 stages that I talked to you about. 知明悟修行. You need to know something, then you realize it, you understand, you realize it, you cultivate it, then it becomes part of life. That's the wisdom. However, okay, the conception palace is known as the early heaven palace. Okay, it is created before you're born. Okay, let me show you this palace. All right, the conception palace is created, okay, before you're born. Okay, so what does it mean is, if you think about this, if you think about life itself, before your brain, the rest of your heart, your body, everything start to grow in the womb, life is already started. Okay, it is conceived into your cells way before your heart start beating, before your brain is developed, before even you're conscious of that you're alive. All right. So that's why Conception Palace in the traditional classics of Bazi is known as the early heaven palace. Sintin. Okay, early heaven means is preconceived. It is the divine energy, the divine knowledge, the divine so-called higher power that is conceived in you. So it is also the particles, the spiritual particles. So if we were to pursue a so-called spiritual enlightenment, all right, where you want to become happier, become more fulfilled, then we have to study the Conception Palace and find out what are the key virtues that we could pursue in order for us to actually achieve that outcome. Okay, so this is the keywords that we are going through right now. Let me show you. Let me show you where to see this. All right. So now you know where to find the palaces. There are 10 gods inside, and there are going to be keywords I'm going to show you right now. Okay. Let me show you where the keywords are. There you go. Okay. So when you look at your chart, your Conception Palace, when you print out your chart, go to see that 10 gods that is inside. Okay. Now I want you to match it with this slide that you see right now on your screen. Okay, so now listen, you do whatever it takes. The printout is the printout. Some people say, oh, it's too small. So listen, shh. All right, do whatever you can to see that word, and once you see it, match it with this chart. All right, this is how you will understand this when I show you the key points here. Okay, and I'm going to explain it. If it is in your chart, what does it mean? Which keyword? How do you see the nature here? Okay, so once you have this slide now, can they see this? Yeah. Okay, let's just enlarge the screen here so I can show it. Yeah. Okay. So that's the right page. Okay. All right. So if you look at the Consciousness Palace, you should be able to see that. Okay. Can I just show the whiteboard? Yeah. Okay, now I want you to look at this. Okay, so this is the shortcut. This is the shortcut. If you are more familiar with Bazi, you don't need the software. Okay, so if you are more familiar with Bazi, you don't need the software. If you are not familiar with Bazi, then this here is basically the shortcut. Okay, it tells you what is the star, because the star is derived from knowing what is this stem in relation to your original day master. Okay, so I make it easy so that you don't have to learn the how. Okay, so for some people are like, shit, I gotta know the how. If I don't know how, I'm not gonna learn this stuff. Listen, we're gonna put the hows away for now. Okay, we just look at the outcome. All right, so if you plot out a chart, you look at the Conception Palace. Okay, this is the Conception Palace. Once you understand the Conception Palace, which is located right here, you look at the 10 gods that is inside here. Okay, once you know the 10 gods, then I can tell you which of the key spiritual virtues you need to cultivate in order to achieve your higher level of consciousness, your enlightenment, your peace of mind, your happiness, your fulfillment, and so forth. Now, in some ways, a lot of your destiny, a lot of your journey in life will somewhat point you towards this direction. Okay, a lot of those experiences you go through, the lessons that you learn, the betrayals, the harms, the pains, they all go through the same thing. Okay, so now let me show you what the 10 stars mean. Okay, once again, yeah. So now, if you look at the 10 virtues here, if you see in your chart, the first word is direct resource. Let's just say in your Conception Palace, on the top, yeah, not the bottom. Okay, on the top, not the bottom. Let me show you again. Okay, the conception palace is here. This is your conception palace. This is the conception palace. Okay, we are only going to look at, let me put you in a different color here so you can see it. We are only going to look at this. This is the only place we're looking at. Okay, so let me zoom in and so you can see clearly here. So we are only going to look at this. Okay, this is the only thing we are looking at right now to make it very easy. So if you see a DR, okay, then the virtual of faith is the most important. So you find that the experiences in your life, the journey of your entire Pazi chart, your entire journey in life points you towards a lot of experiences, a lot of challenges, always point out to you the one thing, for you to develop faith. Now, faith doesn't have to be in a specific religion. Religion is basically, other people's experiences. Faith is your own connection with your own higher intelligence. That, as there was once I had one of my guests in my events. Okay, his name is Vladimir, and he said this very interesting thing. I don't know if he's in this class right now. He said that if you believed in Santa Claus for 8 years of your life as a kid, why can't you believe in yourself for 8 minutes? Yeah, so I thought this is a very interesting aspect of faith. Having a faith means, believe in the right things, including these virtues. Okay, it promotes a stronger trust in yourself, so you have less self-doubt, you have much more confidence, and this virtue helps you to prevent against or apprehension and doubt. So a lot of your experiences, the realization, remember the 5 stages I told you about, 知明悟修行, okay? So now you know, is whether you understand this. Sao means you start to cultivate it as part of your life, okay? So this is very important for you to, go through certain experiences that allow you to develop that faith in yourself, not in a specific deity or some high or something out there. It's faith in the internal, that you can achieve this, that that you're on the right path, that you're guided by the right forces towards the outcome that you're meant to get. Okay, a lot of people don't realize the full potential of Pazi. You will go through the 12 core modules of the basic, and then you go through the advanced materials of the basic. You start to realize that at some point you need to develop faith in yourself. Okay, and this is the direct resource start. All right, so the next one, if you see an IR in the consciousness palace, okay, which means that right now here in this box, if you see a IR, okay, what does that mean? Okay, if you see an IR, this specific virtue is related to hope. Okay, basically it means that you need to develop, if you want to gain that spiritual enlightenment or that happiness or that fulfillment, or that awakening in your life. Remember the wisdom that I told you about, 知明悟修行, okay, the 5 stages. You need to take on a more positive view that the good will always prevail. That's hope. Okay, that you want something to hope-based anticipation is about wanting something positive to happen in the future, and to know that it is true, that it could happen and it will be true for you. That's the anticipation of a positive outcome, and this thing alone gives you faith. That's why direct and indirect resource is related, and joy and the trust that the future will be better. Okay, and this virtue is also the antidote to despair and frustration. So if you don't achieve this, you will find that the clashes, the harms, which you will study later in the advanced tier, the clashes, the harm, the punishment, and so forth, all this will cause you to have despair and frustration until you have mastered this so-called spiritual virtue. Then you will be able to go through those clashes, that combos, those harms with no problems. Okay, so that's why it's so important, right? Now, again, this is only your first introduction. I know a lot of you are beginners into Pazi, so I will make it very easy. That's why I don't want to go too deep right now. I'm just trying to keep things simple for you to digest. Okay, so now moving up here, if you see the next letter here is in fact, let's say you see here, and the word is RW, okay, Rob Wealth, okay. So how many of you here have RW in the chart? All right. So if you have RW, the key virtue is contribution. That's what the star actually does when it is inside your conception palace. Okay. Now I see some of you are already asking about stuff that is not related. For example, DE and all this stuff. Listen, focus. All right. There's something wrong. Yeah. Focus on what I'm talking about. Don't focus on anything that I'm not talking about. I know there's DE. I know there's other stuff. Don't care. Right now, you focus on this first. All right. You make it simple. Otherwise, there'll be 1,000 things you can bring out. All right. If you have RW, okay, RW, it means contribution. That's the virtue of contribution. Contribution basically is concern for, and it is the active or the activity of helping other people or service. All right. Now a lot of people actually don't contribute. All right. You can see a lot of people just are into taking, they are not into giving. And without that, if you don't contribute to the community, you don't contribute to your team, you do not contribute to the family, you cannot activate this very important virtue, which is related to compassion later on. Okay, so contribution is an act of generosity, and without RW in this chart, or with RW, and you don't develop the key virtue of contribution, you will find that there will always be in your entire life lack of concern, a lot of self-centeredness, and you don't even understand why people treat you like shit. That is because your spiritual journey is about learning to contribute, and all these issues and challenges that you're facing is because you don't learn this key spiritual attribute. So you see, there are 10 attributes, but you don't have to learn everything. Some people think, no, I need to know everything. I'm gonna have all these things at once. No, you have the certain life lessons point you towards one or two key lessons. Okay, one or two key important virtues first. Now, these virtues, as some of you are saying, will change. All right, along the way, there will be the 10-year luck cycles, and then there are phases where it will move on to a different. It will manifest or morph to a different environment. Okay, so for now, look at what you're born with first. This is your key virtue. Now, for some of you, you have a friend star. Okay, so if you have a friend star, okay, let me just try and write this in my keyboard. Okay, so if this is friends in your chart, the key word here is fortitude. All right, the virtue of fortitude. This is about friend star is always about never giving up. It's about continued effort or doing something to achieve something. Okay, despite the difficulties, even the failures and the challenges and the opposition. So some people just give up quite easily. You can see, right? Way before our enrollment closes, already some people say, oh, it's too difficult. Oh, I can't remember 5 minutes. Oh, I can't do this, can't do that. Everything they can't do. All right, because that virtue of fortitude is not there. You got to have the virtue of fortitude. So if you see this in your conception palace, then this is the life lessons that is part of your spiritual journey. Okay, so fortitude, friend star, if you practice it, it breeds patience. Is the ability to wait for a long time without becoming too upset, and still have anticipation or hope that things will become better. And it helps. It also breeds peace. Okay, it brings peace because you have fortitude, you have peace of mind. Fortitude, there's no peace of mind. Okay, and it helps with determination, resilience, and it is the antidote. Listen to this. This is the antidote to laziness. Okay, friend star. So this is important. See, okay. See, I see again the questions. You're changing focus, Simon. All right, Simon, you're changing focus. Focus on this palace only. Do not worry about vitality palace. Do not worry about anything else, Simon. Okay, Simon, are you listening to me? Focus only on this right now, because I can only address one topic at a time. We're not going to change the subject right now. Okay, so focus on the one thing that matters right now, because our topic today is only this. Okay, can you see what I've written down? We are only going to focus on the conscious palace, nothing else. All right, so I'm not going to focus anywhere else in the Pazi chart, because we are only starting in our journey, and this part is only about the 10 spiritual virtues. Nothing else here so far. Okay. All right. So which means there will be, we do not care about the emptiness. We don't care about any other components that are there. We don't care about the clashes either for now. We just want to know what is. Okay. Remember the 5 things. To know is the first step. If you don't know, you can't have all the variations. All right. So we start with knowing. All right, Simon, I hope this answers the question. So no more about vitality palace and anything else. All right, just the consciousness palace. All right, so continue on. All right, the next palace here is called the next of 10 gods here is DO. Okay, I can't write it in my mouse though. Okay, this is DO. Now if you see direct officer, DO is direct officer. The key virtue is justice. This is the hardest, I think, to practice, and people with this in the chart obviously go through a lot of challenges because let me explain how it is. Because justice is about being fair and equitable with others. Okay, it's about treating others or other people in a way that sometimes does not, you know, sometimes it might even to in a way that we have to be more giving to practice justice than it is to actually do it for ourselves. So it's the antidote against grievances and injustice. Okay, it's a personal virtue, and justice is a character trait or virtue that we practice, not something that we demand from others. Okay, unfortunately people think, oh, it's about justice, I'm going to demand it from other people and therefore get it. Okay, no, we don't. Okay, justice, the virtue of justice is something that we practice on ourselves and for other people. Okay, that's why it's hard to practice. Okay, and seemingly even where others have harmed us or be unfair to us in some way, we seek to mend and repair by practicing, you know, by being fair to them, and also by adding one more virtue called forgiveness. When we try to mend a harm that's done by other people, we use the virtue of forgiveness. But when we try to you know, practice something, fairness is something that we practice for our own. It's not something where we can demand from other people. Okay, so that's why this is one of the hardest virtue to actually go through, that the 5 phases. Okay, to know is one thing, to understand it is very difficult, to start to cultivate it and put it in part of our life is even more challenging. But let's say we don't do it. Okay, let's say we don't do it. In some ways, all the experiences that you go through in life, the clashes, the harms, the punishments, and all the pain will somehow lead you back to you know, learning this lesson. Okay, that's why it's called a spiritual virtue. All right. Okay, so let's continue on. Now, if you see IW, okay, so which means now you look at this box here and you see IW. Okay, listen guys, concentrate on this box. All right, I see a lot of questions. I know I can read it. Yeah, you keep looking at the other things. All right, you keep asking, what is this, you know, and then what is this. Listen, don't care. All right, it's not important right now, because the moment we do that, there'll be 1,000 things to talk about. Look at this and this only. Okay, I will not address any questions that's related to other boxes like this. Okay, we are not concentrating on other things for now. There's a reason why we learn it this way. It's called focus and no distraction. When we learn Bazi, we don't want to put in too many things. The reason why a lot of people get confused is when they add in too many things and try to figure out what it means. Okay, the easiest way to learn Bazi is to look at one thing and read that one thing alone. Okay, all right, so I've gone through that. Oh, Priya just came in and asked what is IR. We've already discussed IR, Priya. Okay, so now this is IW. Okay, this is IW, indirect wealth. If you see indirect wealth here, this is another very hard virtue to acquire. If you have that, your life experience will point towards this direction. When you go through clashes, combinations, and so forth, this IW is virtue is called detachment. Okay, detachment is very hard to do. Okay, because I know that from personal experience. Detachment is not something that you, it doesn't mean, people think that if detachment means you should own nothing, you should detach away from material life. No, okay? Detachment basically means nothing should own you, okay? That's what detachment really means. It's not that you should own nothing. It means nothing or nobody should own you, okay? So, you know, the root of suffering is a lot to do with attachment, how we attach to ideas, how we attach to certain things that we deem or believe to be right, but then actually it's proven wrong, and then we still want to hang on to it. Okay, so that's the issue. So a lot of to do with detachment is about being able to accept an outcome, not the emotion that we want to feel. If we keep attaching to the emotion that we desire to feel, that detachment will cause us pain, and that is a virtue that we need to learn. Okay, so and by being detached, you trust that there's higher power or divine intelligence is supporting you. Okay, can I have my coffee, please? Yeah. Okay, so now here are some things that I've learned along the way that could help you if you are you know, you have this key IW in your consciousness palace. Okay, try and practice being an observer instead of you know, trying to participate in every issue that you see in life. Sometimes just look at how things are going, then you start to detach. Look at your anger, look at your problems from the outside, look at, you know, how you are responding to something, but you, that's how you detach. Okay, so this virtue is not, I know it's not easy, okay, but then again, it's one of the spiritual virtues that allow you to become happier. Okay, how about trying to you know, stop placing conditions for you to be happy, or for anyone to make you happy? There's certain conditions that they need to do it. So if you detach away from the conditions, you'll be able to achieve this virtue. Okay, and also don't let outside factors determine that happiness. That's also being able to detach. Okay, or how about maybe you want to replace the words I need to I want. Okay, so I want to do something instead of I need to get this done, I need to do this, I need to do that. That's, you're detaching yourself to the to an activity. If you say I want to, it gives you you know, power over you know, the ability to detach. Okay, so instead of I have to do something, you choose the words I get to. Okay, or I'm blessed to. This way is also part of non-attachment. Okay, and if you just focus more on the journey instead of the outcome, then you also practice some form of detachment. Okay, this is hard for me as well because I have this issue, but that's why I'm telling you from personal experience. So detachment basically means accepting that certain things are out of your control, and you are trusting that there is higher intelligence, higher power that will make it all work for you regardless. Okay, so this is why if you don't understand this, there will be a lot of pain in your life. And sometimes people with this tend to go and study metaphysics, like me, for example, because then we want to know why did shit happen to us, and now we know. Okay, so so this is why it's important to look at this from this perspective. Okay, so I also remind myself that sometimes you need to pause and breathe, you know, and relax a little bit before taking an action. All right, so that's exactly how you have this to cultivate this virtue. Anyway, I hope that this is an introduction. Don't get too attached to an outcome like, shit, I gotta master this after this one thing. All right, this bonus session is an impromptu session, so I know some of you are like, oh, give me the notes. All right, listen, don't attach yourself to the notes. This is the notes itself. I'm giving it to you right now verbally. All right, you can watch this over and over again. Hopefully you will get it, because I've just prepared this as an additional bonus for everybody. This originally I wanted to keep this, as I said, as a topic standalone, but it's not long enough to be an entire lesson in the advanced, nor can it attach to any of the basic modules. So I want it to be a standalone topic just for you guys. Okay, all right, so the next one, 7K. Okay, if you find that this here says 7K, okay, then the keywords here are self-control and temperance. Self-control and temperance. It's about self-control and moderation of the needed things, and abstinence from things which are not needed. That's why it's called 7K. 7K usually comes with some form of pain. All right. So it's abstinence over things that are not important, against excessiveness. So this virtue here, if you have this a lot of your life, some people with this tend to be overweight, because they don't practice self-control and abstinence from certain type of food or certain activities that are unhealthy. So people with this in their spiritual palace or consciousness palace, you'll find that they could be the life lessons they need to learn is temperance and self-control. Therefore, if you don't learn it, you'll find that maybe they're chain smokers, for example, they're addicted to certain type of drugs, or they're addicted to certain type of activities that are not helpful. All this is trying to teach them how to have self-control and abstinence. Okay, so if you have this, it's about achieving the virtue where you believe it's possible to live in accordance to much higher moral standards and or higher moral principles. Okay. Now, people with real self-control and temperance as a virtue will have humility as well. It's a quality or a state of mental or mind power that you don't think that you're better than others, but that you know, there's a saying in Chinese, Chinese saying, 做事要高調，做人要低調. In English, it means when you do something like business or work, you can be big and bold. But when you, as a person, you need to keep your humility, to understand that, you know, there's you are not better than anyone else. Okay, you're just a human being like everybody else. Okay, that's the key virtue of temperance. If you're 7K, a lot of life lessons point towards this direction. Okay, so I would suggest habitual moderation. I would suggest moderation in terms of indulgence and appetites and passions, even passions. Okay, it is the antidote towards assertiveness and pride. Yeah, so there you go. This is the 7K. All right. So now the next one, if you see here, let me bring out the notes. Yeah, if you see here, you see a HO. Okay, if you see HO, this is one of my favorites, but it's not easy to achieve as well. HO means courage. Now, here's the problem. Okay, if your virtue is courage, what do you think your life lessons will be? Your life lessons will always be self-doubt, fear, because fear is opposite of your courage, right? So all this while, there's always people asking you, hey, you know, come speak on stage. Hey, you know, I need you to represent us to do this. Hey, I need you to go and take on this role. It's all about being the, you know, being in front, but then it's trying to teach you how to gain courage. Okay, it's the mental or moral strength to venture on, to persevere, to withstand danger and fear and difficulties. Okay, so if you have HO, you find that that's why people always ask you to do things to do, right? To stand up for them, to speak up for them. And then if you're not going to learn this virtue, then you won't have the boldness and confidence, and you will constantly be you know, attacked by self-doubt. Okay, so you see, this is rather important as a topic for advanced tier students, because, you know, at some point we'll be talking about clashes and harms and you know, DEs and all this stuff, right? And we want to know what it means to us. What it means is basically what's the meaning you give it inside in as an individual. And usually it comes from the big picture, the life lessons that all of us need to learn. The reason we go through all this shit in life, or whatever shit we go through, is hopefully at one day we will discover that it's trying to teach us something about life. So if you have these clashes and harms and punishments in your chart, and your concept, your consciousness palace has HO, then the life lessons you need to learn is about the virtue of courage. If you have that, those lessons becomes, you know, moderate and becomes less painful. Suppose it's not, then you have a big problem. You have low self-esteem all the time. Okay, so this is the problem. Yeah. Yes, it is this antidote to low self-esteem. Okay. All right. Now let's see the next element here. It's the direct wealth. Okay, so in case you see here, and it says DW. Okay, so if you see a DW here, this virtue is called virtue of forgiveness. Okay, that's also the nature of the DW star, by the way. And don't worry, I know you guys want to know everything about the 10 gods. We will be addressing the 10 gods in my advanced tier module. I filmed it. We're going to do it in a very proper way. So right now, just I'm going to give you some additional thoughts into it, but that you're going to get all the details in the advanced here on the 10 gods. Okay, so when this star, we call it a star, by the way, DW appears in the consciousness palace. It's about learning the virtues of forgiveness, the act of forgiving someone or something. Remember we said earlier on. That justice is what you practice on yourself, on your own, but forgiveness is what you practice for others. Okay, so the true wealth is the ability to have a conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings and resentment or even vengeance, toward a certain person or certain things that someone has done to harm you. It's not easy to do, but true wealth equates freedom. Freedom from what? It's not the money, all right? True wealth is the ability to have freedom, and freedom from this pain, freedom from that resentment, that vengeance that haunts you, that anger, okay? So regardless of whether someone deserves your forgiveness, if you can achieve this, you will be able to liberate yourself. That's true freedom, okay? So forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, of course, all right? It doesn't mean condoning neither or excusing offenses. But what does it mean is direct wealth means freedom, and freedom means forgiveness, okay? And it brings peace of mind. Now, if you don't learn this lesson, this virtue, you find that a lot of these problems in life will give you, the lessons will bring you towards bitterness, anger, and frustration. All right, so a clash in a chart, a harm in a chart, a punishment in your chart subsequently will bring you to anger, bitterness, and pain. Okay, but if you learn the lesson of forgiveness, and most importantly, forgive yourself, then you achieve true direct wealth, which is true freedom. Okay, that's why we classify this as forgiveness rather than freedom. All right, lastly, and I think you guys have already guessed it, EG itself. Okay, so this is EG, just as this sample chart is. This is the virtue of compassion. Okay, it's an output element. It's a same polarity as the day master element. That's why it's called EG. It's a sympathetic consciousness towards other people's needs, distress, or pain, and a desire, a true desire internally to help them alleviate it. That's eating God. In fact, the entire world, the artists of the world, the entrepreneurs of the world, people who truly create value, create jobs, makes a difference, is all out of compassion. Okay, it's showing someone the kindness, or giving someone the kindness and the care and the willingness to actually make a difference in other people's lives. That's what it means by showing compassion. And this EG itself, the eating God, basically creates a positive emotion that's something to do with being thoughtful and being able to alleviate someone else's pain and situation in life. Okay, so and you can have compassion towards animals and other people as well. Okay, giving takes compassion, right? Caring takes compassion and understanding, right? And it is the antidote towards grief and judgment. Okay, it's the antidote towards grief and judgment. So take note of this. Yeah, so and listen, okay, compassion is the ability to feel another living creature, a living being. Yeah, it's very different than empathy. Empathy is the ability to not only understand others' feelings, but to become one with that person's distress and pain. Okay, it's very different than compassion. Putting yourself in someone else's shoe basically means empathy, but compassion means you treat other people's needs and wants more important than yours, and you want to help them. That's compassion. Okay, and that's eating God, by the way. The true nature, that's why it's called an eating God. All right, it basically allows you to feed, help, alleviate other people's problems. So all the virtues, you can say, I don't know whether it's hard or easy. I don't want to label something, because once you label something, it becomes true. So you don't want to label something as becoming difficult or painful and so forth. But you want to understand that all clashes, combos, harms, and all that eventually will lead to this outcome, which is for you to actually learn these virtues. Okay, so I want to summarize everything onto this page once again. Okay, so you could see here on this page the 10 spiritual virtues of Ba Zi. Let's go through them again. If you see DW is about forgiveness. If you see IW is about detachment, and DO is about justice. 7K is about temperance or abstinence, self-control. Remember that. DR is about having faith. Then IR is about hope, and friend is fortitude. RW is contribution. HO is courage. EG is compassion. Okay, I've discussed all of this already, so take note of this, and just take note of this way. Okay, the keywords for this, let me bring you back to the first slide. Knowing it is one thing, yeah, because at the end of the day, let me just bring you back to the first slide where we talk about 知名唔修行. Okay, let me see the slide here. There we go. Okay, so now you know. Okay, but do you truly understand it? It takes a bit of time. Okay, realization takes even more time, and you gotta actually see it in real life and see it in your own life, and then you need to cultivate it before you can actually incorporate this as part of your life. Okay, so the 10 virtues are basically something that it takes a lifetime to actually discover. This is a standalone topic, and it's, even if you don't know this, is not the end of the world, right? I see some, oh, I missed this, that. Listen, you can watch it again. If your life sucked because you missed a small thing, you have a big problem in life, all right? So it's so easy to actually rewind this and watch it again, right? So, you know, stop being a victim, yeah? Everything is covered here in detail, okay? So watch it again, right? Watch it again, and you'll be able to get it. So more importantly is look forward, all right? Look forward, all right? This basically is for you to realize, now you know something. Then next part is understanding something. Okay, understand the principle, and then realize it in your real life, and then cultivate it, and eventually incorporate this as part of your life. Okay, then again, you got to understand that in the advanced modules, you will learn the nature of a dynamic chart with clashes, it combines, it harms. There are life lessons, and all these life lessons on the big picture eventually points out to you learning some of these virtues. Okay, so once you understand the virtues, you now understand the lessons, then you free yourself from all this pain, then you're able to move forward and become better. Okay, so take note of that. Enjoy the process, and then again, just remember, today is only the beginning. Don't worry, don't get stressed out. This is an additional bonus. A bonus means, as the word implies, a bonus. It is standalone. Even if you don't get it, it's fine, because when you start the core modules, module 1 begins today, as you know, and you go through the 12 modules, it's like an add-on. This is like the bridging between the basic and when you're moving on to the advanced, which is the advanced module. That's where all the most important and I think a lot of key technical concepts are explained there. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this session today, and start your learning. Bazi is a great platform for you to understand people, know people, understand people, realize their potential, help cultivate them, become better, and more importantly, you know, take action together to make your world, your environment a better place for everyone. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this session and enjoy the practice of study of Bazi, and I will see you in the live event. Okay, again, practice some non-attachments here. Okay, I want to just practice a bit of non-attachment. Some of you guys, I wish to say this, are so stressed out with the exam. Okay, don't be. Okay, don't be. All right, if you're not ready, don't take it. It's fine. All right, it's not, someday later there might be another exam later on, so it's meant to be. Okay, so don't get stressed out with it. All right, if you can come, come for the event. If you can't come, give your tickets to somebody who you think you want to help. All right, you guys have platinum tickets, which means it's a very good seat in front. Sometimes it's like that. All right, you can't control every single thing, and so if you can't make it for the event and you have an additional ticket, what do you do with it? Well, who do you love? Who do you love? Who do you think you want them to improve in life? Pass the ticket to them. All right, and maybe it's meant to be for them to come, and there's something in that event that they need to listen to, and that helps them. Okay, so that could be one of the things that you can be doing. So don't get stressed out. All right, take it and go with the flow. Enjoy the process. All right, sometimes there's some questions. There'll be group coaching calls. Participate in the group coaching. enjoy the process of learning and achieve mastery in Bazi. Okay, and we are here to help you do that. So have a little bit of faith in yourself and trust the process. Okay, trust that process. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this bonus here, and I'll see you again very soon. I'll see you in the program. Thank you so much.